Hey, I'm Rail from PowellEnglish.com, and today we're going to be looking at replacing these four words, which might surprise you because it seems like everybody in France and possibly everywhere outside of a English-speaking country or outside of the UK, everybody learns hello, how are you, I'm fine, goodbye. So there's nothing really wrong with it, but it's a bit formal, it's not very native, it's not very fluent. Usually I wouldn't really use any of these with my friends or family. Even it seems in the UK, even in certain shops, you might not say hello. So yeah, we're going to look at in detail what we could do to replace each of these, and we're going to start with hello. So hello is a pretty recent word in the English vocabulary, well, relatively recent. If we look at the Wikipedia page, we can see that it was first attested in 1826, which isn't really that long ago, all things considered. Also, we can see it's a bit interesting in the etymology that potentially it comes from hola, from French, which it was used as. People would use hello when they were surprised. Oh, hello, what's that? It became popularized with the advent of the telephone, with Thomas Edison, and it became used as a way for people to answer the phone, which presumably has gone into French as well, which is why you say allô in France. So anyway, ways that you could still use hello. So when you answer the phone when you don't know who it is, although even that today doesn't happen so much because usually you see who's calling and you might just be able to say, hey John, how you doing? Or you go into an empty shop, or maybe you go into your friend's house, the door's open, but there's nobody there. There, you could use, hello, is anybody there? So yeah. Just moving on, so if we just look at the French equivalent of something like hello, if we look at bonjour, and if we wanted to translate this literally, what would we get? Well, you got your jour would give you day, and then bon could give you good. So that would give you good day. And it might still be used in some places. You could definitely still tell people to have a good day. But in the past, people would say good day. Good day, sir. Today, it's pretty much outdated, I would say. However, people do use good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night when you go to bed. So this is usually a bit formal, but it'd be very usual, for example, in my family or with friends, my daughter, if I see her in the morning, I'd say good morning or just morning. Not so much in the afternoon. I don't think I would say good afternoon to my family or friends or good evening, but I would to strangers. So yeah, it's a kind of a bit more formal. And we can say just morning, afternoon, evening. We don't need to say the good. So moving on, we're now going to look at your words to replace hello. So first of all, in orange in the middle, so this is your basic hi. Hi. It might seem like not much, but hi is much more natural, much more native than hello, as is hey. It's a bit more American, but it's fine. So hey, how are you doing? Hiya. This is maybe more in the UK, I don't know, but yes, it's just like hi, but it's hiya. Hiya. Sounds very friendly. Quite often people will add there. Hi there, or hey there. Let's see some other things. So if we've got plural people, then we can say hey guys. So guys is masculine, but it's quite often used for men and women. We could say hey gals, G-A-L-S, but otherwise hey guys is kind of okay. Hey guys, and that can kind of replace hey everybody. Hey everybody. Also hey folks. Hey folks is maybe less fashionable, but that can mean everybody. On the same level of that is the American hey y'all. Hey y'all, so that is a contraction of you all. So hey y'all. You wouldn't really say that in the UK, but yeah, you could hear that. And another way that you might just say, instead of saying any of those things, if you have a friend, you might just say, all right. Let's say the friend's called John. You say, all right, John, how's it going? Or, all right, mate. Quite often people maybe you don't know that well might say, all right, mate. So mate meaning friend. Okay, so hello can be replaced with hi, heya, hi there, hey there, morning, afternoon, evening, hey, all right. Yeah, so all that can replace hello. So now we're going to move on to goodbye. So again, goodbye is pretty formal. It's also kind of, it sounds like a finality. It's a bit like adieu. We can soften it by saying bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. It sounds kind of cuter. We could also add a few words, bye for now. But looking at goodbye, so the origin of goodbye is actually God be with you. So there's a very strong religious context to goodbye. But obviously today nobody's actually thinking God be with you when they say goodbye. But it is interesting that that is the origin. And just for interest, yeah, God be with you would translate as Dieu vous bénisse. So yeah, goodbye. So looking for variations of goodbye, so bye, bye-bye. There is cheerio, which was definitely used in my experience. I don't know if it's still popular today, but it definitely sounds very nice. Cheerio. Cheer is also something quite positive, like to cheer. It's like to applaud, to be happy. Also, you say cheers when you have a drink. So cheerio sounds quite good, but yeah, I'm not sure how popular it is. So we're going to move into just see you. So see you is not pronounced see you, but rather see you. See you, which can be added to see you in a bit. So see you in a bit means see you soon, very soon. See you in a minute. See you very soon. We could say see you later. See you soon. See you next week. See you on Monday. See you at 6. All kinds of variations with see you. We could also say catch you later. It's maybe a bit young, maybe a bit outdated, but yeah. So we can say see you, bye bye. So all of these things to replace goodbye, which sounds a bit too formal. So looking to the middle now of how are you. So we're looking green here in the middle. So these, they're very similar, but they sound better. They sound much more natural, more native. If a foreign person said to me, say I was in England or Scotland, and a foreign person said, hey, how's it going? I would feel that person had a good grasp of English, much compared to how are you. So anyway, we've got how's it going, which basically is the same as French comment ça va. Although the tense is continuous, but we've got it going, ça va. How is it going? To which you should answer, it's going. So if the grammar is how is it going, then you should answer it is going, or contracted, it's going. It's going well. Also note, we're not going to say fine. Fine actually doesn't sound that good. Fine seems like, yeah, it's okay, but it's not that good. So to replace fine, we could say it's going well, it's going good. It's going excellent. And we can also say some negative things as well. We'll come back to that after. But so anyway, how's it going? It's going well. So instead of how are you, we say how are you doing? That might seem like a very little change to you, but to a native this sounds much nicer. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? It just sounds much better. So how are you doing? We're going to answer by I'm doing. How are you doing? I'm doing. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. I'm doing better. I'm doing, yeah. Also, yeah, we want to ask, and you. We could say, what about you? I'm doing great. What about you? How are you doing? Also notice the contraction. So how's it going? How are you doing is rather how are you doing? You cannot really hear the R so much. How are you doing? Certainly in American, it can just sound like there's no R. How you doing? So moving on from there, we've got, this might seem complex, but if you've not seen somebody for a long time, or even a week, or 2 weeks, a month, then you can use the present perfect, or present perfect continuous. Might look complicated to you, but it's very natural for a native. How have you been? How have you been? I've not seen you for ages. Ages means a very long time. How have you been? Or how have you been doing? What have you been doing? How have you been doing? To which we're going to repeat the grammar. How have you been? I've been. Or I've been ing. I've been working. How have you been doing? I've been doing great. I've been working hard. I've been working out. I've been traveling. I've been reading lots of books. So we're generally going to repeat that tense. So just to go back, how's it going? It's going well. How you doing? I'm doing good. How have you been? I've been busy. I also notice that pronunciation. I've been. Not I have been, but I've been busy. How have you been doing? How have you been doing? I've been working hard. We could also ask, what have you been up to? Basically the same thing. What have you been doing? What have you been up to? And I thought I put what's up. Yeah. So in America they might say what's up, what up. We could say what's new. Nothing much. Just quickly variation of what's up. So you could have what up. In UK Jamaican, you could have what wagwan, which is what is going on. Sounds like wagwan. Let me just write. What does that look like? Wagwan. I didn't like that. Wagwan. So wagwan is actually what is going on. Anyway, that's Jamaican Black English. So what have you been up to? Yeah, so some of these other answers. So we could say, what have you been up to? Not much. This and that. How have you been? Or how you doing? We could say not too bad. Pas si mal. Not too bad. Can't complain. Je peux pas me plaindre. Can't complain. So that could be typical answer. In some of the negatives, we could say could be better. Ça pourrait aller mieux. Could be better. A bit under the weather. So that means a bit under the weather actually means a bit sick. So a bit ill, a bit sick, a bit under the weather, like you've got a cold. Okay, so moving out, just to recap over this, if I zoom out a bit, yeah, okay, so let's say we got, hey, hi, how's it going? It's going well. See you in a bit. Catch you later. So let's imagine a little conversation between Jane and John, of course. So we go, hey Jane, hey John, how's it going? It's going well. How about you? How are you doing? I'm doing good, thanks. Okay, gotta go. Catch you later. See you next time. So obviously a very short, ridiculous conversation, but giving you an example of a typical exchange that could happen. And also we've got some variations. We've got how's it going, is going, and then asking back, how about you? How are you doing? So there's a bit of variation. Okay, so after that, I'm going to give you some tests on this. give you some practice. But yeah, the main idea is try to integrate this vocabulary into your vocabulary to sound more natural, to sound more fluent, and to sound more native. And it could honestly impress some people, I think. Okay, so let's just move on to some key points. The structure. So, how's it going? It's going. It's going well. If I ask, how's it going? You don't want to say, I'm doing well, even though obviously anybody would understand, but it's important to repeat the structure. How's it going? It's going well. How are you doing? I'm doing well. Here we've got the present perfect, like I mentioned before. So a person you haven't seen for a long time, a while means a long time. How have you been doing? I've been doing well. And if it's just how are you, then I'm well. Okay, and just a note on the formality. It's not a comprehensive list, but generally this in blue is more formal. So, good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. How do you do? So we didn't actually see this at all, but how do you do is even more formal than how are you. So how do you do? How do you do? Like maybe if you met the royal family or something, you might say, how do you do? And goodbye. This is definitely informal. Hi, hey, how's it going? See ya. You shouldn't say this to the king, the queen, I was going to say, but the king has replaced the queen. So yeah, you're not going to say see ya to the queen. It would be a bit strange. So yeah, this is more formal, and I would say hello is more formal. And yes, so I think that's it. That kind of wraps it up. Yeah, go back to the start. So yeah, your aim is replace this language with all of the new language that I've shown you, and hopefully you'll make it. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.